Right now, you can probably count your professional network, i.e. the people you know who work in the industry, on one hand, two hands if you're lucky. However, what I'm going to tell you today is how, when you finish your internship and go back to uni, how you can expand your professional network so it spans around 250 industry professionals. Now, before we do that, I want to ask you to let me know in the comments how week 1 of your 2022 summer internship went, because obviously that was last week. Let me know, did it go as planned? Did you get caught off guard? Did anything surprise you? Was it good? Was it boring? Was it fun? Was it what you expected? Let me know in the comments below. Anywho, let's get on to today's video. Week 2 of your internship starts tomorrow. So today we're going to talk about how you can expand your network by networking. Alright, so by now you've probably met your team, so the team that you're going to be spending the next 10 or so weeks with. And so the best thing to do if you haven't started this already is to start meeting your team individually over a 30-minute catch-up. Now, for a lot of you, the concept of a 30-minute catch-up might be foreign. It's basically, you know, when you're in uni, you don't really put time into your friends' calendars, right, to go for a coffee or a tea or a drink for 30 minutes, right? In the world of work, it's very, very common. Everyone's busy, everyone's got lots of work that they need to do. So whenever you want to kind of sit down and talk with someone individually, away from the desk, so in the cafeteria, go out for a coffee, go out for lunch, whatever it might be, you send them a calendar invite, usually a 30-minute catch up. So you send a calendar invite and it says catch up, and it's 30 minutes, and it's some time for you to just go and take them off the desk and just chat with them. You're an intern, the onus isn't on you to, you know, buy them a coffee because you're kind of broke compared to them. However, it's expected of every single intern to expand their network throughout the internship, and it's one of the things that you'll probably get assessed on as well. Did this intern, you know, actively try and set meetings up with employees? Did this intern actively or proactively try and expand their network within the organization? Did they take an interest in other employees? So on and so forth. So the catch-up is very important, and here's why. When it comes to the end of the internship, everyone's going to be looking at your final presentation. The more people you meet, the more people you can invite to your final presentation. As nerve-wracking as that might be, the better it is for you, because more people can give feedback on you and relay back to your manager, you know, I sat down with this intern a few times. They seem genuinely interested in the career. They seem genuinely interested in the role. They seem like a nice person. Personally, I would love to see them back as a full-time analyst. Blah, 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 blah. The more people you meet, the more people you can have an impact on. And so that's why it's important. Now, in terms of practical advice, first and foremost, you want to set up time with everyone in your team. So week 2, by the end of week 2, you want to have already done catch-ups with every single person in your team, depending on how big your team is. If you set up a catch-up, a 30-minute catch-up 5 times a day, that's just 2.5 hours. One at 9 a.m., one at 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m. That's, you know, 5 catch-ups in one day is easy. If you do that 5 days a week, that's 25 people that you're going to speak to, have a 30-minute catch-up with, interact with, build an industry connection with. 25 people in 1 week. Over 10 weeks, that's 250 people that when you leave your internship, you can drop an email to, drop a LinkedIn message to, chat to outside of work after your internship. 250 people that work in the industry. That's very powerful. You know, if you just do 1 a week or 1 a day, that's 5 a week. That's 50 people by the end of 10 weeks. So don't, like, a lot of people won't pay much attention to this. A lot of interns won't bother, but it's super important, and it goes towards helping you later on, whether you get an offer or whether you don't. All right, after you've met with everyone in your team, the key thing to do is, after you have one catch up, when you get back to your desk, immediately schedule the next catch up with that person 2 to 3 weeks down the line. So over the 10-week period, you don't want to meet people just once. You want to meet them at least 2 times. If they're not within your team, 2 times is good. If they are in your team, you want to meet them 2, 3, 4, 5. The more the better, right? So keep that in mind. So after you meet everyone in your team, you want to start meeting people across other teams within your division. And the reason that's important is because you're going to see throughout the summer, you're not just going to do work with your team. There's going to be lots of teams in your division. They all work together in different ways. Whether it's, you know, piecing together a document or a piece of work for a client, or whether it's doing something internally, all the different teams, as much as they sit on their own, they do tend to work together. So it's good to know people, have at least one contact person from each team. When you are meeting these people from the different teams, you want to give them you want them to, whenever they reach out to your team, you want to be that point person throughout your internship. Be the main point of contact. Let them know, you know, anytime you need anything from XYZ team, whatever team you're sitting on, say I'd be more than happy to help. Feel free to use me as the point of contact, and then I'll prioritize whatever you need being done. Something like that. So you show them that, you know, you're going to help them out. You're not just meeting with them, learning from them and taking that knowledge, you're offering something back. So it's a two-way process. After every single catch up, ask the person, who would you recommend I should reach out to next? Because every single employee in the industry or in your organization, whether they're an analyst, an assistant, an associate, VP, MD, whatever it is, they will have an extensive network of colleagues in that organization. So ask them at the end of your catch up, oh, who would you recommend I reach out to next to learn about? And then figure out what you want to learn about next, whether it's a different asset class, whether it's a specific team, whether it's a specific division. Ask them, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. And so when you reach out to that next person, whether they're in your division, in your team, in a different division, whoever it is in the organization, you have an excuse for reaching out to them. You could say, I spoke to XYZ person and they suggested reaching out to you to learn more about XYZ. When you go to that meeting, make sure you're prepared with good questions. If there's one thing that people hate, is having their time wasted. So don't ever go to a catch up with poor questions or with no prepared questions beforehand. That's very important. You don't want to be seen as the intern that is booking catch-ups with everyone and then doesn't really have any good questions or just wastes everyone's time. On the topic of preparing good questions, very, very important. You don't want to go to a catch-up and it be awkward silence for 30 minutes. You have to kind of start the conversation, guide it. Always be prepared to guide the conversation, right? But most times they know that you're an intern, so they'll do most of the talking. They'll make you feel comfortable. It's an informal conversation. It's not an interview, right? So have questions about the person, you know, their background. How did they get into the role? What do they like about the role? What do they see themselves doing in the next 5-10 years? Whatever it is. Remember, you're trying to find out if this is the right place for you to work. And then you could talk about their role specifically. So you've talked about their background. Ask them specific things about their role. What do they do day to day? What's the least favorite part of their role? What do they really enjoy about their role? You know, if an analyst was to join their team, what's the career trajectory like in that specific role or team? And then you can go on to questions about their team. You can ask them how they collaborate with other teams in the firm. Do they work closely with your team? So on and so forth. And then, as previously mentioned, offer to be the point of contact for them if they do work with your team. And everyone needs to get work done. They want to get it done quick. And so if you can be that point of contact, if you could be quick, you can be efficient, you could sort them out, you could do them favors, you're going to be in their good books. They'll put a good word into your manager. It all helps towards getting a full-time offer at the end of your internship, whether you want that or not. So I'm going to wrap up. Don't want to keep it too long. I know you need to get prepared for tomorrow. Make sure you lay out your clothes. Make sure you're ready for the next week. If it went well last week, good. If it didn't go well last week, guess what? You've got another chance tomorrow. Make sure you smash it. My task or my challenge for you for week 2 of your internship is try and meet, I'm going to say 5. If you could do 5 catch-ups a day, Monday to Friday, that's 25 catch-ups. I'll be super impressed. So I'm gonna set the bar high. If you could do 25 catch-ups in week 2, that would be wicked. So yeah, let me know if you could do that. Any questions, any concerns, if you're worried about anything, let me know in the comments below. And I will see you next week Sunday, similar time, for advice and, ramping you up for week 3 of your internship. Peace.